The Silent Hill series is widely considered to be among the most acclaimed entries in the genre of survival horror games that appears on consoles in the early 2000s. The brand hasn't released a new game in quite some time, which is unfortunate. Nevertheless, players are keeping their fingers crossed that something incredibly spooky is on the way in the near future. Those who are itching to experience the unique brand of horror that Silent Hill is known for can load off any of the previous releases, all of which contain their fair share of horrific moments and scares in their own right. Having said that, a few of them have certain sequences and mechanisms that don't make a whole lot of sense. In this video, we will tell you about 10 things about the Silent Hills franchise that make no sense. But before we start our countdown, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so let's begin. Number 10. Dahlia Gillespie murdering her daughter. Due to the fact that Dahlia Gillespie is the most God-obsessed, insane character in the series, she's under the impression that through fostering hatred, she would be able to create a god that's more loving for no reason at all. There is no rhyme or reason to this. And to make matters even more perplexing, she thinks that her daughter Alessa is the mother of the new, more loving god. Neither of these explanations makes any sense. Only Alessa doesn't get the opportunity to do it, since Dahlia makes an attempt to kill Alessa by setting fire to their house. Considering that Dahlia felt that her daughter was gonna give birth to a deity, it's difficult to understand why she would have tried to kill her daughter in the first place. Number 9. Travis's parents in Silent Hill Origins. Considering that name of the game is Origins, there is a striking absence of it. In Origins, this question of why Travis went to Silent Hill in the first place was never addressed. We were never told what prompted him to go there, and even when he did visit, why did he stay? Especially because there is no reason why anyone else would want to stay. Travis, the protagonist of Silent Hill Origins, has a troubled past, similar to that of any other Silent Hill protagonist. His mother is delusional, and his father committed suicide. Additionally, the game touches briefly on some kind of disturbing aftermath that occurred when Travis was a child. However, Origins never once followed up to this narrative. This would have made the extremely complicated prequel a lot more realistic if it had been done. Number 8. Heather's weird flamethrower in Silent Hill 3. During the course of their journey through the surreal and horrifying world of Silent Hill 3, players will have the opportunity to earn some very amazing weaponry. Many people have warm feelings about the game because of its peculiar narrative and intriguing main character. The third installment did not significantly alter the gameplay in the same way that Silent Hill 2 did. Unfortunately, just like the shotgun fiasco that occurred in the first Silent Hill game, Silent Hill 3 is plagued by a peculiar weapon use. During the course of the game, players will stumble across a useful flamethrower. Nevertheless, employing its use against adversaries will result in an unusual experience. The creatures won't actually catch fire from the flames because it's too weak. Instead, it functions as a peculiar melee weapon with an expanded range, and it causes the monsters to bleed and stagger when they are struck by it. Number 7. The other world poses no threat in Silent Hill Shattered Memories. It's well known that Shattered Memories is one of the worst games in the Silent Hill franchise. This is not only because it ignores the continuity of the series, but also because it contains very few of the cliches that are characteristic of a Silent Hill game. Climax Studios completely deleted all of the Silent Hill's monsters from this recreation of the game's origin version. You may call it a survival horror game if you like, because players can only encounter monsters in the ice world. Venturing consciously into the mist in the Silent Hill does not cause nearly as much anxiety or fear as it ought to, because they are aware that there is nothing to be afraid of. Number 6. The other world's existence in Silent Hill Origins. The creation of prequels has resulted in a lot of wonderful things. Not only do they represent a return to the origins of a franchise that they may have become sidetracked, but they also excite fans of the game by providing significant amounts of fan service, which is a huge draw for them. Origins, on the other hand, is riddled with inconsistencies and adds more confusion to the Silent Hill canon, particularly in regard to the past of the other world. In the first Silent Hill game, Cheryl didn't return to Silent Hill until after the other world already existed. However, in Silent Hill Origins, which takes place before the first game, the other world is already in existence. Number 5. The Dog Ending, Silent Hill 2. Anyone who managed to find their way to the dog ending by accident is for quite the surprise, as it's widely considered to be one of the most absurd and amusing aspects of the Silent Hill 2 game. It has a place of notoriety among Silent Hill 2, and it is without a doubt one of the more interesting Easter eggs to emerge from the survival horror genre over the course of the years. But it unquestionably has a place on this list, owing to the ridiculousness of its content. The dog ending is not only difficult to obtain, but it also has the potential to shorten the length of the game, and when everything is said and done, it doesn't really have that much of an explanation. It is no way consistent with the atmosphere and mood of the extremely unsettling storyline and gloomy world that Silent Hill 2 presents. However, this is one of the reasons why it is so successful. When skulking around the gloomy mist-filled adventure of Silent Hill 2, it's perhaps the last thing gamers would expect to come upon. Number 4. The mysterious orphanage girl in Silent Hill Downpour. In the video game Silent Hill Downpour, a little girl appears unexpectedly, either in a dream or in real life. Nevertheless, the reason for her appearance is never revealed. It's not out of the ordinary for random things to appear in the Silent Hill franchise, either as a part of the protagonist's delusions or as something more physical, but the little girl is never explained, and to shrug it off as something random in a dream isn't very Silent Hill-like. The fact that the young girl made an appearance in both the trailer and the advertising material suggests that she may have done a more significant part in the movie that was cut from it. Number 3. Charlie Pendleton's murder in Silent Hill Downpour. There's a justification of why Downpour is considered to be the most disappointing entry in the series by Metacritic. Despite the fact that Downpour has retconned everything that gets in the way of the story making sense, there are still crucial elements that are left unanswered, the most important of which is the reason why Charlie was murdered by his own father Murphy. It's revealed in one of the possible outcomes of the show Downpour that Charlie's mother desired exclusive custody of her son following the couple's divorce. However, why would this make Murphy want to kill Charlie? If anything, he would want to assassinate Charlie's mother. In a different ending, it's shown that pedophile kidnaps and kills Charlie. But this is shown to be too contrived and doesn't make any sense, given what has transpired in the story up until this point. Number 2. Pyramid Head's appearance in the Silent Hill Homecoming. In 2008, at this point in the series, Silent Hill was in desperate need of some real mythology treatment. However, the developer, Double Helix Games, was more focused in paying attention to the combat parts of the game than they were in addressing this need. Even if this aspect is significant for the majority of the video games, Silent Hill is all about the atmosphere and the narrative, and the finest titles in the series don't even have particularly good gameplay. Pyramid Head, probably the most terrifying antagonist of the series, makes an appearance in the Homecoming. Pyramid Head is one of the most memorable bad guys in the history of video games. Pyramid Head's existence, on the other hand, is inexplicable given that James had nothing to do with the events of the Homecoming, since it was shown in the Silent Hill 2 that the angular villain was nothing more than a hallucination of the James' imagination. Number 1. Worst vacation ever in Silent Hill 2. Even though it's by far the best and scariest games in the series and one of the best survival horror games ever developed, Silent Hill 2 may feature the biggest plot hole of the series. However, it may also be the finest game in the series overall. Being able to see little more than a few centimeters in front of you when playing the horror game Silent Hill is what makes the town setting so unsettling. Silent Hill is the mistiest town in the world, but the fact that James is even there in the first place is due to the fact that this is his and his wife's preferred location to spend their time off. Since 1970, when the town was founded, it has always been shrouded in fog. However, the events of the video game takes place 23 years later, so the protagonist of the game would most likely have never seen the town before. It became known as the most horrifying town in the world, which makes it an odd choice for a vacation spot. That's all we have for today. See you soon in another video. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. Also press the bell button for all upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.